Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join me as we explore Southwest's lost historical characters, stunning desert vistas, forgotten Native American history, or tales of lost gold mines. There's always something new to discover. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Sit back and enjoy. Deep in the heart of southern Arizona, where the rugged Tascosa Mountains cast long shadows across ancient mission trails, lies a mystery that has tantalized treasure hunters for generations. It's a tale that begins in the dusty streets of old Arivaca Pueblo and winds its way through rocky canyons and mesquite-covered foothills. This is the story of the Caretta Canyon treasure, a legacy of the Jesuit fathers who once ruled these lands, and the incredible wealth they left behind. Our story begins not with the treasure itself, but with a remarkable discovery in the old pueblo of Arivaca. In a weathered adobe house standing on the main street, a piece of silver ore was found. Not just any ore, but one that assayed at thousands of ounces per ton. This single discovery would reignite interest in one of the Southwest's most compelling mysteries, a lost silver mine and an extraordinary cache of treasure said to be hidden in its tunnels. Let's paint a picture of how this story came to light through one of its key witnesses, Don Manuel Gonzalez, who arrived in Arivaca in the early 1880s, during a time when the wild Apache still roamed free. Visitors would find Don Manuel taking his siesta in the noonday sun, a common practice in old Arivaca. The view from his veranda was spectacular, far across the Altar Valley to the northwest. A fleecy cloud hung like a bridal veil from Baboquivari Peak's lofty summit, the highest peak in southern Arizona. Don Manuel's hospitality followed the time-honored customs of Spanish-American courtesy. He would immediately offer his guests his house, his garden, and everything he possessed. Then would come the inevitable cafecita, marking the beginning of what would often become a fascinating conversation. On one particular afternoon, Don Manuel lit a cigarette, offered one to his guest, and sat contemplating the lighted match, seemingly lost in deep thought. Only when the rings of smoke began drifting up over the cool veranda did he stir from his reverie, ready to share the extraordinary tale. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest adventure. If you would like to help support my time and channel, hit the super thanks heart icon on the bottom of the video and contribute. This is very helpful. Relax and enjoy. According to Don Manuel, the story truly began to unfold when 3 Mexican vaqueros set out to round up cattle grazing on the western foothills of the Tumacacori and Tascosa Mountains. Their chuck wagon camp was strategically placed near the mouth of Jalisco Canyon, just a few miles east of Arivaca, providing easy access to the cattle-rich foothills. The vaqueros split up, each riding in a different direction to gather the scattered cattle. One of these vaqueros, riding southward, found himself near the head of a long, rocky canyon on the western slopes of the Tascosa Range, close to a pass that led to the deep canyons gashing the south side. As he surveyed the landscape spread before him, he made an extraordinary discovery. His horse was standing on an old mine dump, and nearby stood the entrance to a tunnel sealed with a heavy oaken door. This wasn't just any door. It bore a handmade hasp and staple, secured by a large padlock of distinctly Spanish or early Mexican design. The vaquero collected several pieces of ore from the dump before continuing his pursuit of the wandering cattle. But what truly set this discovery apart was what he found a short distance below the tunnel. the remains of an old carreta, one of the ox carts commonly used by the Padres during the Spanish colonial period. That evening, around the campfire, the vaquero showed his ore samples and spoke of the locked tunnel. His companions met his tale with skepticism, and perhaps discouraged by their ridicule, he said no more about it. The samples he kept would later find their way to Casa Grande, Arizona, providing tangible evidence of extraordinary mineral wealth. Years later, a group of Spaniards arrived from San Francisco, carrying ancient Spanish documents that described a fabulously rich silver mine in the region. These documents spoke of a lost treasure from the Tumacacori mission, hidden away by a Jesuit priest. Crucially, they mentioned a specific guidepost to the mine, an abandoned carreta near the tunnel entrance. The historical record provides an unexpected verification of at least part of this tale. In the spring of 1886, soldiers pursuing Apache raiders who had attacked the Peck Ranch passed by an old carreta high in what would later be named Caretta Canyon. Though engaged in their grim pursuit, the raiders had killed the ranch owners, leaving only their baby boy Al alive. These soldiers unknowingly witnessed a piece of the puzzle, even if they were too focused on their mission to recognize its significance. But to truly understand how this treasure came to be hidden, we must turn to the testimony of Calestro, an Opata Native American born and raised near the Tumacacori mission. Calestro's account, passed down through 3 generations of Opata Native Americans, takes us back to 1750, when the Pima tribes rose up against their Spanish oppressors. This wasn't an isolated incident. It was the culmination of years of Spanish oppression, a desperate attempt by indigenous peoples to reclaim their autonomy. As the uprising spread, the padre in charge of the mines and mission made a crucial decision. With the help of a few loyal native converts, he began loading the mission's most precious possessions into a carreta drawn by 2 oxen. The cargo included all the altar fixtures, numerous bars of gold and silver bullion, and most intriguingly, a small copper box containing maps to 8 mines and crucial church records. In the first light of dawn, they set out. A Native American walked alongside, guiding the slow-moving oxen along an ancient road that can still be traced today. Their route wasn't random. It followed a carefully chosen path, portions of which remain visible. Near the Isabella mine, the road can still be seen cut into solid rock on the hillside, just west of the Isabella shaft and the ruins of an old rock house. These enduring marks in the landscape stand as silent testimony to the engineering capabilities of the Spanish colonizers and the importance of this route in their time. They skirted the foothills below the San Pedro mine, winding through mesquite thickets toward the Tascosa Mountains. There, they encountered an unexpected complication, a pack train from the Altar Mission in Sonora. The news these newcomers brought was grim. The uprising had spread to Altar, where several Spaniards had been killed. Even worse, 3 padres at Sonoita had been murdered, their bodies thrown into an underground room with their mission's treasure before the buildings were demolished. Faced with this dire situation, the padres made a fateful decision. They would conceal their combined treasures, the cartload from Tumacacori, and 8-pack mule loads from the Altar Mission, in a nearby silver mine tunnel. They abandoned their carreta and 6 of their mules before making their way to the coast and the ships that would carry them to exile. In 1767, King Charles III of Spain issued a decree that would change everything. The Jesuit order was to be expelled from Spain and all its territories. The padres who had hidden their treasures were forced to flee, never to return. Today, the story lives on in the memories of those who call this region home. In the old pueblo of Arivaca, where Don Manuel once held court on his veranda, life continues much as it did in his day. The Gitana dance hall and bar still stands, its doors open to the evening air, the sound of guitars mixing with the laughter of dark-eyed señoritas and the animated conversations of vaqueros and gambuchinos. The modern town of Casa Grande holds its own piece of this mystery through that remarkable piece of silver ore that started many on their quest to uncover the truth. The old Spanish document that brought treasure hunters from San Francisco may still exist somewhere, perhaps in a forgotten archive or private collection, waiting to be rediscovered. And what of the copper box? If found, it wouldn't just reveal the location of the Caretta's treasure, but would unlock the secret of 8 lost mines, each one potentially as rich as the samples suggest. The maps within could lead to what might be one of the greatest mineral discoveries in Arizona's history. Somewhere up there, beyond the mesquite and rock, past the Isabella mine's weathered ruins, that heavy oak door may still stand, its Spanish padlock holding fast against time itself. The treasure, the altar fixtures, the gold and silver bullion, the precious documents and maps, might still rest in that hidden tunnel, watched over by the remains of that loyal Opata Indian who made the ultimate sacrifice to protect its secrets. The physical evidence remains tantalizing. The rich ore samples, the carved road still visible in the rock, the accounts of multiple witnesses over different eras, and the old Caretta itself, seen by those American soldiers. These pieces of the puzzle suggest that somewhere in these sun-baked hills, a fortune in Spanish colonial treasure still awaits discovery. Until that discovery comes, the mystery of Caretta Canyon will continue to intrigue each new generation, a testament to a time when Jesuit fathers fled their missions in haste, leaving behind not just material wealth, but a story that would become part of the very fabric of Arizona's history. Their treasure, whether real or legendary, remains one of the Southwest's most enduring mysteries, waiting in the shadows of the Tascosa Range for someone to finally unlock its secrets. If you enjoyed this story, check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.